once again, and welcome to Heroes and Droids, your guide to movies and TV shows about superheroes, sci-fi, Disney, and action. From Marvel to DC, from Star Wars to Star Trek, from James Bond to the Fast and the Furious. We will review theatrical films, streaming delights you care about most. Welcome to episode 100.
Raise the roof.
Yes, and for our special episode, we are reviewing Red Notice, now streaming on Netflix.
That was anticlimactic.
Which actually had one of the biggest initial days of anything that's ever premiered on Netflix.
Yeah, but Netflix, everything that comes out has the biggest. It's like,
but when you have three of the biggest stars, it kind of helps.
It does help when you have,
no matter what,
and when you have a good trailer.
Yes, and you got the Green Lantern, Shazam, or not Shazam, but Black Adam and Wonder Woman. So, although I'd rather say Deadpool, but
he acts more like Deadpool in this one. I feel like
yeah, but
the Deadpool acts like Ryan Reynolds. let's just put that out there. He's just pure Ryan Reynolds.
I like that a lot. All right. I'm your host, Doc Rotten, and joining me tonight are my crew, starting off with Christopher Slattery. He is known as the Slat Man. How you doing, sir?
Good. I am, I thought I had something witty there, but I can't be Ryan Reynolds witty right now.
Oh, no, you just can't live up to the Ryan Reynolds. Okay, I understand. All right, also joining us is award-winning filmmaker, Christopher G. Moore. How you doing, sir?
All I can say is, I'm Ed Sheeran, bitch. If you watch the movie, you'll get that joke.
That actually was...
Which made me
kind of funny.
Guffaw. I kind of laughed out loud.
He guffawed, ladies and gentlemen.
I guffawed.
We had guffawage. All right, what we're going to do tonight is we're going to give our first impression of the film. That will be spoiler-free. And then after that, we'll dive into a discussion about the film, which we'll get into spoilers and spoiling special cameos that were not published. Joking. All right. Also, we'll wrap things up with our final thoughts, our score 1 to 5, and our favorite scene. And of course, before we do, if you want to help us out, it's easy and free to do. You can hit the like button, you hit share button, or you can hit the subscribe button. It'll all help us out and wake the Slat Man up. And of course, we want to hear your comments down below, and we hope you enjoy not only this review but many others that we have on the site. All right, let's dive into the film. What are we reviewing? Red Notice on Netflix, available in theaters November 5th, and then streaming on Netflix beginning November 12th, 2021. Directed and written by Rawson Marshall Thurber, the man behind Skyscraper. The cast includes Dwayne Johnson, Ryan Reynolds, Gal Gadot, Ritu, Arya. Oh my God, I can't say that one. Arya.
I can't wait for the next
Chris
name.
Diamontopoulos. Ivan.
Close enough.
Mbakop, and that's wrong. Vincenzo. Why? I even practiced these beforehand, and I just can't do it. All right, synopsis. An Interpol agent tracks the world's most wanted art thief. Wow.
A gross oversimplification.
That is so flat.
That should come from ILM or Lucasfilm.
Right.
That's actually the first minute of the film.
It is. All right. Well, let's dive into our first impressions. Slatman, sir, you are up first.
So I really wanted to like this movie.
Yes,
I really like the cast. I think the cast is very excellent. I really liked the trailer. The trailer showed a lot of promise. Unfortunately, that's about all the positives that I can give to this movie, because everything after that is just utter garbage. I don't really feel like any of our cast is really giving it 100% in this. It feels like a paycheck movie, if you ask me. The Rock is just kind of playing, The Rock, Ryan Reynolds is just kind of playing Ryan Reynolds, and Gal Gadot is just kind of playing evil Wonder Woman.
Kind of, yeah.
So it's just like, it just, I don't know. It didn't really have the heart that I was looking for. It didn't really have the writing. A lot of the jokes just kind of made me groan. Including the one that Christopher talked about earlier.
You didn't like that, huh?
Okay. I rolled my eyes so hard I almost fell out of my seat.
Oh, wow.
And I just I don't know. And there's just a couple twists in this movie. Like there's a twist in the movie that I feel like was done well-ish, but that's in comparison to the other twists of the movie that I felt like fell flat completely. And I don't know. I thought it was boring. I thought it had a couple of really cool moments, but unfortunately a lot of those really cool moments were in the trailer. So, save yourself the time, watch the trailer, skip the movie.
No, okay, just do the 2-minute version. Just do the 2-minute version is the word here. All right, Christopher G. Moore, share your first thoughts. Oh my gosh.
I don't think it's a big dumb action film is what it is. So if you're expecting it to be Shakespeare, it's not going to be that. Now it has its problems, but I enjoyed it. And I actually like the dialogue. I think the only thing that kind of saves it for me is the dialogue, because there's a lot of witty stuff that's being said. And you can sort of see that with the writer, which is also the director, he's basically created phrases that The Rock can say, that Ryan Reynolds can say, and even that Gal Gadot can say. I think it's got some great moments, and there's actually one moment that I kind of caught that wasn't actually a reference to Indiana Jones, if you catch it.
There was.
It's a little obvious.
Well, it's kind of obvious when the guy goes in there and he's whistling Indiana Jones tune.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's a reason why the flash. Yeah, there's a reason why a flashlight goes over a certain part. But anyway, I don't know. I enjoyed it. It's got some fun action moments. It does feel like, okay, it feels like let's construct all these big action sequences around these big areas. Like, oh, we need to have this part in Russia. It's almost like those James Bond moments, but in a sort of a Hobbs and Shaw, Tango and Cash buddy comedy. And I kind of like those. And a lot of those aren't, you could probably say they're not the best things. Tango and Cash is not the best action film ever, but it's fun because of the personalities. I think the personalities make this more than if it were just some lower rung action people. I think the biggest two of the biggest problems that I have with it is the way this story plays out does not make any kind of sense, especially when you get to like this big twist by the end, because it's like there's a lot of ways people could have died easily for this to go out the way it is, and so that doesn't make any sense. And then it just, yeah, and I mean it, but also the big twist kind of explains why certain people are able to usurp the Rock more than what they should have, because their parts are like, no, nobody's going to be able to do that to the Rock, but then it kind of makes sense. So it kind of explains it, but at the same time, it's not. It feels like I kept expecting M. Night to pop up. Hey, I did this. I think also, and I don't know if this is because of COVID and because they had to have shutdowns in the process of making this film. There was a couple of places where me as a filmmaker, I could tell, oh, that's a really green screen shot there. Like they're not actually in this specific place, or they're not actually riding on this train. And it kind of took me out of it to where I could see that was a special effects shot that I shouldn't be paying attention to. So, I don't know. There's a lot of these type of situations where it falls into like Die Hardville, to where like, okay, they just lucked out the fuck when it comes to certain scenes. I mean, like, okay. So I don't know, but at the same time, I enjoyed it. I was entertained by it. It didn't. I think it was like one of those heist movies where people cross each other, and like, once again, Dr. Jones, what you have is not mine. That kind of moment that Indiana Jones had to deal with. It's a big goofy action film. And I like the personalities, and I'm a fan of Ryan Reynolds and most of the things he does, as long as he's doing his sort of goofy, jokey self. And there was some really fun phrases, like there was one part there talking resting failure face and things like
Yes.
that made me laugh. That probably Chris Slatter, his eyes were going.
He's gonna fall out of his chair. Fall out of his chair.
So his wife thought he was possessed or something. But overall, I enjoyed it. Again, it's a big dumb action film. I didn't really, to be honest, going into it, I didn't expect it to be great. It's. I don't hate saying this. It's made for Netflix, so it's not going to be the next Die Hard. It's not going to be, I think I probably would have been a little bit more disappointed if I saw it in the theater, but I think also it would have been more fun to see in the theater because I think action films like this are better. But at the same time, I probably would have seen, oh, that's really green screen.
Yeah, it might be a lot more obvious. Huh?
So I thought it was a fun film. I enjoyed it. It's got some really fun moments, and I really like some of the pieces of dialogue that are just kind of fun, just how they twist a phrase and that kind of thing to sort of playing against each other. So yeah, I liked it.
Yeah. It's you can even see the sets when they're in the Amazon.
You can tell. Okay, they walked from. Yeah. It's very obvious.
All right, so this is very much a 90s buddy, film crossed with a heist film, crossed with a little bit of pinch of Indiana Jones in there for good measure. And it stars actors playing themselves, but they have chemistry and they're funny, and I'm kind of a sucker for this. This is kind of guilty pleasureville. I was looking at Rawson Marshall Thurber's all the other films he directed, and Skyscrapers one, We're the Millers is another, and Central Intelligence. All of them are just about the same in that they're kind of bad, but they're kind of enjoyable at the same time. And this one falls right into it. It's sharply made. The action's great. The lighting's great. Everything technically except for, the limitations. And I think we can give them those during this particular time because it was, like you said, shot during COVID, and it did have to shut down. And sorry about government. They didn't have access to, certain locations and stuff like that. So it makes sense. But when they are able to do it, the fight scenes are well choreographed. To me, it's an exercise in kind of, big budget, stupid action films, and I fell for it. I liked it. It's not a favorite. It wouldn't be at my top 10 for the year, but at the same time, it's not going to be at the worst of the year. It's entertainment, and that's it succeeded in that, and that's about it.
Well, it's like a lot of those 90s action films where they take these two big action stars or whatever, or actors, and have fun with them. I mean, and I think this is kind of no different than that. I mean, you definitely get that kind of buddy comedy. I mean, it's sort of like, I think even early in The Rock's career, like The Rundown, I think was a good sort of buddy comedy action film, and I think, I think the biggest thing is you have these three different big personalities. You have The Rock, you got Ryan Reynolds, and you even have Gal Gadot, all playing to their strengths when it comes to their personalities and stuff. And so to sort of see them together was kind of fun, but I think you also have to work around some of those things. And I will say that there was some kind of choreography that wasn't the greatest in certain scenes, but then they kind of explain it away.
Oh, that's true. They did
with the twist.
So,
but it feels like it has all these moments that feel like there should be probably in different movies,
Yeah,
And
And honestly, it feels like it's trying a little too hard at times as well. And I think that like there's moments with the dialogue where it feels like it's trying too hard to be witty. There's times with the action where it's trying too hard to be over the top. There's times, especially with the twist. I guess we're in Spoilerville now.
We are in spoilers.
The like with the twist, it feels like it's trying too hard to be like to quote Ryan Reynolds, what the fuck?
I know.
Like one of those moments, and it just, I don't know, it didn't really land for me because I just felt like it was trying too hard.
Yeah, it's a little guilty of that. I'll grant you that. But I kind of feel like it landed those a little bit more than you're giving it credit for. But I understand your position, though. Don't get me wrong. I'm not criticizing your dislike of this film because it's there. It's there. But like I said, I'm kind of a sucker for this, and the chemistry alone is really strong. I mean, the
chemistry between The Rock and Ryan Reynolds is great.
Yeah, and Gal Gadot, the three of them together, like the big confrontation that you see in the trailer that is when they find the second egg. I like that a lot. It had a lot of really fun things happening, and ended in a twist, right? It ended in a twist that I actually liked. It made sense that twist was there. And it led to some more funny scenes underneath the bullfighting.
That scene, not underneath the bullfighting, but the actual bullfighting.
The bullfighting scene?
That just, I could, like, that's just, no.
Yeah, well, to me, it was obvious that at some point they're gonna pop up.
Yeah.
In that arena.
No,
I mean, it was just
it's like,
obvious.
what is it? Is it Chekhov's gun or something? Where it's like if there's a gun in the scene, you have to fire it. Is that?
Yeah.
It's like if there's a bullfighting pin in a scene,
it's Chekhov's bull.
Yeah,
Chekhov's bull crap. But yeah, I don't know.
Oh my god, that reminds me. This movie is so guilty of that as well. It's like making a big deal about the car. Oh, let's use the car.
They telegraph it.
Why can't they just label anything?
Well, it's
Nazis.
It's action tropes, It's like it's just how that kind of plays out, and I think the guy who directed it sort of does that in a lot of his stuff. But I don't know. I mean, this feels like it feels like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Tom Arnold. It feels like kind of like that combination of like you have the big bulky guy and the comedic sidekick, working together and
lift
stuff.
with your neck.
Yeah. I mean, there's a
that
lot
one
of
made me laugh.
There's a lot of nice little times where where they're cracking on each other, which kind of makes you wonder if any of that stuff was improvised.
100%
I would imagine quite a bit. Yeah.
I think the improvised ones will work way better than the ones that feel scripted.
Yeah, okay. I do like that they know what they are because there's a tongue in the cheek here because they even when they go into the Indiana Jones room, they go look for the box labeled MacGuffin. They know.
I loved that joke got me real good.
Because they know what they're doing. They know what this is, and to me, in that vein. It really works really well.
And I think that shows like the comedic chops of the three actors as well, because all three actors have good quips like that feel like Christopher said, improvised and feel very natural.
Yeah. I did read an article where they talked about like supposedly and like I guess Vin Diesel's known for like in his contract of having to be presented in a strong manner, and evidently The Rock has that too. And so I think that's why the twist kind of allows him to get away with Gal Gadot throwing The Rock over her back, which is not physically possible unless she's Wonder Woman, but not a real person. You have this thin woman taking The Rock and flipping him over her, and I'm like, no, not even in movie land do I believe that just happened.
I mean,
but
they
then they
tried.
But then they explain it in the twist.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I think the twist is I was like, that's a little too much. I mean, you kind of like those twists. We've had those type of things before in like
You were
heist
the bad
movies.
guy all along.
Yeah, when
I
the
told
con
you.
people.
Yeah, but I like it. I mean, they go back and he was literally saying it all along. So I kind of.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
I
So
am the bad
it's
guy.
there. It's right there in front of you. So I mean, it's constructed that way. But again, when they're walking on the outside of that prison, that's like one slip away from just dying.
Mhm.
And that's supposed to be your the way of getting out of this situation. I mean, I don't know that the plans don't really make a lot of sense because they're so death-defyingly dangerous.
Yes. Well, that's the world we live in now, thanks to Tom Cruise. So
I guess so, but that's different. I think when you're buddying up with your girl, like, oh, we're gonna play this out this way. It doesn't story wise, like, this does not make any sense whatsoever. But it is a big dumb action film. You know, you could probably say the same thing about the Die Hard movies and some of the stuff that John
oh
McClane
my god,
does,
especially in 2 On.
Well, yeah. His ejector seat and too. So I mean, but you believe it because it's John McClane. You know, it's you know, same shit, different day. You know, I mean, that's or the Lethal Weapon movies. You know, any of those films are just bigger than life, and so you kind of think, okay, these characters are indestructible. But I don't know. At some point, I was like, I don't know. I don't know about this.
I mean, yeah,
I'll let it slide, but I don't know about this. And then I was thinking, I think when they go to the jungle, I was like, where's this? First of all, where's this endless amount of money they're able to go from this place to this place, and then when he rips up the map of like how they're going to find their way back if that's not the place where they're supposed to be at. So I don't know. There's points on my mind was like, okay,
logic.
Okay,
it doesn't have to make sense if it's a stupid dumb action movie.
But then I'm like, action movie. Okay, I forgive it.
You know what I can't forgive though?
What is that?
Gal Gadot's version of Downtown, especially when we have Anya Taylor-Joy's.
That was badly timed.
Yeah.
I expected the Anya Taylor-Joy, her face to show up in a mirror later on, like, you bitch, don't sing, don't try to sing. And they're like, oh, she has such a great voice. I was like, no, she does. But yeah, I don't know. Although I did researching after we saw it. The guy who plays the arms dealer. Do you know what role he played previously?
No,
he played Mo in the Three Stooges remake.
Oh my god!
And I was like, wow, that same person that played that part played that. That's a little crazy.
He was actually pretty funny. He was pretty funny.
Well, he was actually worked really well, you know.
Why is his shirt off?
Well,
I did like that joke.
Well,
they did, I think there's a lot of callbacks to certain things, and again, there's some really turn of a phrase type jokes that make, like the resting failure face, and then I meant to write down some of the other things that I think a lot of it had to do with Ryan Reynolds. So I'm kind of wondering how much he contributed, because he's definitely a wordsmith when it comes to saying funny stuff. But yeah, I don't know. There's moments it feels like it wants to be. I think there's moments it feels like it wants to be so many different things. Like 1 minute it's a James Bond film, the next minute it's like a Michael Bay film. You know, next minute it's Indiana Jones. Next minute it's Romancing the Stone. It's got like all these.
That's true.
There's all these different elements that feel like they're from different other action films, but it's almost like it's got split personality disorder or whatever, where it doesn't really know what it wants to be, but the main connecting thing is these big personalities happening. So I mean, it doesn't know what it wants to be when it grows up, but you still appreciate it being the funny lad that it is.
The funny awkward little preteen.
Yeah, the preteen, with acne and all.
Oh my gosh. All right, well, let's go ahead and wrap this up. Let's give our final thoughts. Our score 1 to 5, and our favorite scene. And Slapman, sir, you are up first.
Okay, so I'm gonna start with the positives. The chemistry I think between our three actors is very well done. I really did. I liked the. There are some set pieces that even if they are very over the top, I did find them very fun. And there are moments where the dialogue does work. That being said, I did not really enjoy this movie. Um, I think most of the best parts were put in the trailer, and that I think that really does hurt a movie like this because it I went and rewatched the trailer after watching the movie, and I was like, wow, that set piece and that set piece and that set piece and that set piece, and it's like all of the best set pieces from this movie, in my opinion, were in the trailer. So there were no real big surprises for me, and that I think that really hurts an action film. There's no jaw-dropping moment because it's like, oh well, that we knew this was coming. Maybe that's a personal thing, maybe other people feel the same way, but when other things in the movie are poorly executed as I think they are, that just kind of brings it down another notch for me. But I do have to give credit where credit's due, and I did enjoy the chemistry, and I did really enjoy some of the quipping dialogue between our characters because of that chemistry. But I do think that they tried a little too hard, and especially with the twist at the end, it felt like it was just doing too much, and I wish they had just taken a step back and tried to make something a little simpler. And I think there is a good movie in there, and I think there's a good idea in there. It's just unfortunate that they just felt like they had to keep going over the top.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give it a 1.5.
Oh crap!
Wow.
Oh wow!
Were you expecting lower?
No, I was expecting a little higher, but go ahead.
Yeah, I did not like this. I did not like it at all. But just some of the jokes really landed with me, and the one that landed with me the most was the is my favorite scene. It was the MacGuffin. Why don't can we look for the crate labeled MacGuffin? And then they keep looking, and they find the box that's just labeled exactly what it is, and it's just like, Nazis. They're so dumb. I don't know why. I thought that was so funny. And so like I thought that one worked really well. And props for them, acknowledging that they clearly were going for Indiana Jones, and just being very upfront with it right before that scene.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, I think you're going to get your movie when they do Red Notice 2, right? Oh no! Okay, Christopher G. Moore. What was your your score? Your favorite?
Red Noticer.
Redder Notice.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I don't know. This is a big dumb action film, and I didn't really expect anything more than that. I think it's on the shoulders of the personalities of the actors in this more than anything else. And I think if you enjoy The Rock, if you enjoy Ryan Reynolds and his witty self, and you enjoy looking at Gal Gadot, I think you'll.
Oh, wow.
More than that. I mean, if you like Gal Gadot kicking ass, this would be right up your alley.
She does kick ass.
But yeah, I don't know. It's a fun film. I mean, a lot of witty repartee in this. There's all kinds of crazy action scenes. I think there are limitations to some of the visuals and some of that. I could sort of see the edges of the green screen in certain scenes. So, but yeah, it definitely it definitely seems to pull from so many different things. Like I mentioned earlier, you know, there's a little bit of Indiana Jones, a little bit of Romance in the Stone, a little bit of National Treasure.
No, there's a little bit of that.
I mean, you know, there's figuring out puzzles and stuff. You know, there's so many different things that sort of tie into what they're trying to tell, and maybe it's just based on the influences of them being influenced by all these different things and taking these characters and throwing them into that. But the story's a little bit of a mess, and it doesn't really, you know, it by the end of it, you're like, okay, this is ridiculous. This is how this is playing out. This doesn't make any kind of sense, you know, because I think, you know, there's just situations that are just beyond unbelievable that, you know, oh, this is your plan. This is this is supposed to work out. Your plan's supposed to work out by this, especially the Siberian prison thing. I was like, that's kind of ridiculous how they got out of that. Everything just worked out the way, you know, it needs to be. So I don't know. It's a big, dumb, fun action film. It's, you know, it's not perfect. It's definitely one of those things that the only reason it got made is because of the people involved. And I think that's the reason people watched it so much when it first dropped. But again, that's why they're movie stars. That's why we like watching things with all three of these actors in it, just because of their personalities and how much fun they seem to be having. So, I mean, I don't know. I'll give it a 3.25. I thought it was a fun film. You know, I enjoyed it. I laughed out loud a lot of different scenes, and the weird thing is, my favorite scene is not even a scene with them. It's the Ed Sheeran cameo.
Oh, you love
Oh
that.
my god.
Oh no, just hearing Ed Sheeran say, "I'm Ed Sheeran, bitch," just made me laugh. And I think even after that, every time I thought about it, I'd start laughing again, because it was like, because I don't know. I guess I'm just so used to Ed Sheeran being this, oh, the nice, let me sing you a love sing, and just hear him say, just having these nice sort of performers, seeing them act like an asshole, just made me laugh. Because it's funny how he's like, hey, I was in Game of Thrones. And also how fun that also just the bit of this father has had these people do all these illegal acts to get these 3 eggs, and she's more enamored by Ed Sheeran. Mm-hmm. He should have just put his money on Ed Sheeran, and not, because now he's going to prison for doing these illegal acts, which is stupid. But I don't know, something about. I guess that's the one thing that didn't show on the trailer. You know, so I guess that's the one really surprising thing, other than the twist, that made me kind of laugh out loud. But I don't know. I'm weird, so.
You're weird.
That's my favorite. That's
unusual.
My favorite.
Unusual.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll give that to you. That was actually pretty good. I think when they do the next one, Iko Uwais, how do you say his last name? The guy from The Raid. Do you know what I'm talking about, Iko?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. They need to go up against him in the sequel.
Have some real action stars.
Right.
You know, that'd be kind of fun.
I don't know. So not there. It's yes, I'm ripping off the Expendables 4, but I don't care. All right. I you guys know about that, right? Okay, stop. I enjoyed this, and I'm embarrassed. I am, you know, these kind of films are, like I said, this is a guilty pleasure. I think anybody like this will probably recognize it as such. It's kind of a fun, bad movie. And I'm looking at, you know, like I said earlier, I was looking at the Dodgeball was his first feature. So I think he's found his niche. Right? And for me, it works. It works with The Rock. I mean, The Rock kind of elevates, in most cases, elevates things he's in. He's made bad IPs good in the past, and I don't know. I enjoyed this stupid movie. Now I will say I watched it as a double feature because it came out on Friday, but so did a whole bunch of stuff on Disney Plus. We won't talk about Disney Plus Day, but watched Jungle Cruise, so I had a Dwayne Johnson double feature, and it made me appreciate Jungle Cruise a lot more than I did because of it. And yeah, because he actually had to do some acting in that. So, but anyway, I'm going to give this a 3. I feel like I'm actually talking like it's a 4, but which is probably my guilty pleasure score for it. But no, it's a 3 at best. My favorite scene. Okay, so I don't know if it's breaking into the safe, trying to, the whole craziness of trying to get into it, or actually they're in the not the safe. Well, I guess it is. It's a big safe room, right? It's a big vault with windows. Who knows that? Anyway,
another thing that doesn't make sense.
It doesn't at all. But the fight, between them and read the room and all the jokes, and I don't know. To me, that was the highlight of the film.
And they spoiled a lot of it in the trailer.
They did too much of it, didn't they? They did spoil too much of it.
Although one of the main points where they point, like, when you have characters like The Rock playing characters you wouldn't normally think, he's like, you don't look like an FBI agent. Everyone tells me that or something like that, which is very obvious. Like, yeah, that's not the kind of not the kind of character you'd normally see a person like Rock with a play.
Yeah, it'd be more the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, there you go. That's our review for Red Notice. Thank you guys for joining us. We should mention that next week is going to be a fun episode. It's a crossover with H&R doing
Don't Cross the Streams.
Don't Cross the Streams. Yes, Ghostbusters Afterlife. I'm looking forward to that.
Man, I hope it's better than Red Notice.
Don't jinx anything.
It's already better.
Yeah. All right. We do, we encourage people to give us feedback, and we do really want to, but we do have some feedback. And I want to start reading it at the end of our show. So we have some feedback from Sir Rancelot about Eternals. You remember reviewing that, right? Mm-hmm. So it says, every now and then, it's okay just to admit a movie is a stinker. Constant pandering to corporate media overlords is ultimately a fool's errand. And he's so right. He's so right.
Well, I think, I don't know. I feel like the Eternals is one of those situations where people are giving it more credit just because of the diversity and other things that are part of it. But that shouldn't be the main reason things should be good. You know what I mean? So, and I think I'd love to be in a universe where every film has that kind of element, and we can say, "Oh, this is not good," as opposed to, them overlooking all the flaws because,
it will be, it will be interesting looking back at Eternals in a couple of years, 3-5 years, and see, do we look, is it the Thor 2? Of the Phase 4, I don't know. We'll find out. All right. Well, thank you, Sir Rancelot.
Yeah, thanks.
That's great feedback. We love it, and thank to everybody else who gave us feedback. We greatly appreciate it. Christopher, thank you for joining me. This was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun talking about the movie. Yeah.
Not fun for the slap man.
All right. Well,
I had. Okay, I'll give you credit. I'll give credit where credit's due. I had a lot of fun talking about it with you guys. A lot more fun than I did actually watching it.
Fair enough, sir. Fair enough.
You pink notice.
Yes. All right. Pink notice. Gave it a pink notice. Oh my God. That's our headline.
He felt the movie had a resting failure face. That's slap man for you.
Yeah, that's actually pretty accurate.
Oh man, let's say goodnight, guys, please.
Good night.